Welcome to Not a Roofer's podcast, where we discuss roofing
without all the jargon. I'm Breianna.
And I'm Charity.
And this is today's episode.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Not a Roofer's podcast.
So last week, while you guys were all listening about Heidi talking about National Women Roofing Day and how it happens before IRE, we were actually at IRE. So what is IRE?
IRE stands for International Roofing Expo.
Yes, and what it is a conference. It is also an trade show. It's a lot of things. There are a lot of things that happens. And it is only 3 days long. So, yikes.
Well, and it runs from the morning conferences start at 7:45, and then the trade show ends at 5. So 7:45 to 5.
Yeah, it is a lot that happens. So, yeah. Let's talk about our time there. So IRE this year happened in Las Vegas, Nevada, and Las Vegas is in Pacific time zone, which is 2 hours later than Central time zone, which is where we're coming from. So we already were, that was an interesting situation. But I flew in early. I flew in on Saturday because I went to National Women in Roofing Day, which happened on Sunday. And Charity flew in on Monday.
And because I had a prior commitment of my daughter's birthday.
Yeah. So that is when we got in. So we were in earlier. The expo started on Tuesday. So I'm not going to get into all that I did when I got there because National Women in Roofing Day was a lot, and we will actually have an episode on National Women in Roofing Day next week. So stay tuned next week to hear about that. But we'll start on Monday. So Charity got in at 2, 3 o'clock? 3 o'clock?
Yeah, I think it was around 3 o'clock. And now I'm trying to think of what we did. We met up with you after getting into our rooms.
Yes. I was on a tour on Monday, and I didn't get back to the hotel until about 4:15. So we met up at that time, and we ended up going and spending some time with one of our manufacturers that we use, Karnak, which was a good time. And then, is that the night that we went to, now I'm going to forget the street name.
Fremont Street?
Fremont Street. Is that the night we went to Fremont Street?
I don't remember.
It would have to be. It would have to be because then Tuesday night we went and just walked around the regular strip. And then Wednesday we went to the show. And then I left. So yeah, we went to Fremont Street on Monday.
Yeah. I guess so.
So we went out to eat. And then we went to Fremont Street, which is the original Las Vegas Strip. And yeah, that's what we did. And it was really hot. It was 105 on average every day that we were there?
I mean, you think it's hot. I think it was nice. But yes, it was between 105 and 109 each day that we were there.
Yeah. So
okay, to be fair, Las Vegas is in the desert. And so their heat is a dry heat. So 106 feels like 106. It's not with extra humidity or any of that. So for me, it felt really nice because I particularly like the heat and would love to live in warm areas.
Yep, but I'm cold. I come from a cold state. I only want there to be cold weather. Yep. So anyway, I thought it was hot. But then, yeah, so we went to Fremont Street, and really just every night that we were there, we kind of had a late night. So it was pretty common for us to get back to our rooms at midnight, 1 a.m., which if you remember, we were 2 hours later than our original time zones. So we were going to bed 2, 3 a.m., our original time zones.
And then waking up at 7:45 to go to conferences in the morning.
No, waking up at 7 to go to conferences because the conference started at 7:45. So,
Yes.
yeah, we did not get a lot of sleep.
Late nights and early mornings.
Yeah. So anyway, then so after Fremont Street, we went back, went to bed. We woke up and we had our first day of conferences. And we started the morning, we had 2 sessions that we went to each where we learned something. So, what were your conference sessions that first day, Charity?
My first conference was 26 practical suggestions to become a more effective manager. And the second one was winning the war for talent. My first session was about being a effective manager for yourself and your employees, and the second session I went to was on how to gain employees in this very competitive market.
Okay, and I'm only going to talk about the first session I had on that day. So I had to leave my second session early because I was helping with the National Women in Roofing booth. And so I didn't get to stay for all of my second session. So I really didn't get to learn anything. But the one session I went to was Millennial, how to train the next generation of leaders in your company. So it was all about how to retain and recruit and maintain millennials in the workplace, because unlike the generation before, which is what, Gen X, right? I think our parents' generation, the millennials and Gen Z are very driven with constantly learning and constantly needing to find information, and having that drive. It's not like just do this and don't ask questions. They want to ask a lot of questions. So it was all about how to, you know, take what millennials are wanting and keep that so that they aren't switching industries, because on average millennials will switch jobs every 3.4 years because they don't feel like they're being challenged enough.
And I'm glad you phrased it that way, because a lot of people, because millennials switch careers every 3 to 5 years, think, oh, they don't want to work. Please keep in mind, most millennials are between the age of 25 and 38. They want to work or they can't survive. That is the age where you have families, are buying houses, have they want to work. So we need to stop the stigma of they don't want to work. No, they do. They just also want to be educated and stimulated in the work environment.
They don't want to work on a just like here's a task and do it over and over and over again. I worked in a factory for a couple summers. I did that work where you are just put in front of something and you have to do it over and over and over and over again. And if you ask to get moved, sometimes they'll move you, but sometimes they don't. So I spent 2 summers building gear cases, and I was ready to be done. Like, the only reason I stayed was because I needed money for college. But that's the moment I knew I had to be in a workplace that was stimulating me. And granted, I'm not necessarily a millennial, but that is the epitome of millennials. Is they want to be stimulated constantly. They need to be challenged. They need to be learning. And they don't just want to do mindless tasks. Like, they don't want to just be told that they need to do something and then do it. That's my spiel on millennials and the workplace. So yeah, we had our sessions, and then after that we go into the trade show. And this isn't like a small trade show. This place is huge.
Well, and I'm not going to give any names of companies, but each of these companies has to pay for a spot to be, and the spots range from a couple thousand to a couple million. And yes, some of the companies paid for those. So not a small deal. These are a big deal.
Not at all. So I started the first day of the trade show by working the National Women in Roofing booth. So that's what I did. And then after I was done, I met up with everybody and we started going through. And we each, Charity and I both, had particular vendors that we were trying to meet so that we could fill holes in our company. So for me, I had to look for technology, marketing related things, and Charity had to look for
system
software things. So you just go through and we like walked up and down finding vendors, and the vendors range from manufacturers to products to systems to marketing to nonprofits. Like they were all there. Everyone was there.
And just to give more an idea of how big this thing is, the IRE portion started at 11 and ended at 5. And our first day, we maybe made it halfway through the vendors. And we left at 5.
Yeah, we were there the entire day. I mean, we left for lunch a little bit. Like we had maybe an hour for lunch. But other than that, we were in there meeting people, talking. Like it's not a small deal. And we kept getting told multiple times because there were people who pulled out last minute just due to company circumstances. And so there were like, what, half of the people that there normally are? Is that what we were told?
So it was less than half because I was later told that there's typically about 15,000 people there and that they estimated only about 5,000 people were there.
5. So there's a third of what was normally there's about a third of what is normally expected to be there. And so we were able to, on most occasions, stop and actually have a conversation with the vendors, which was really great. But we were told that in previous years, you know, you kind of just leave a business card and you keep walking because it is so difficult to stop and talk to these people. And it was really nice. I would say I don't have any other experience with an IRE, but it was really nice to be able to stop and actually have conversations with the people you needed to have conversations with. So, yeah, that was our first day. And so we were there until 5. And at 5 is when, 5:30 is when the new IRE attendee party started, which we were there for 10 minutes of because we went back to our room to drop stuff off because we had so much stuff that was given to us. So we went back to our room, we dropped the stuff off, and we made it for 10 minutes. And then the welcome party started. Do you want to talk about the welcome party?
Well, the welcome party is just a chance to be able to interact in a non-business setting with the other attendees. And so ABC Supply hosted, and they paid for drinks and music. So there was a DJ and free drinks of whatever arrangement ABC had decided to pay for. I think it was an assortment of beers and wines.
Yeah.
And then as we are younger, I consider myself closer to 30s than 20s, but
well, you are closer to 30 than 20.
I know. So we found the 20-year-olds.
We weren't all 20.
I know, it was actually a range.
Okay. There was a mix.
It was a mix, but we found the youngers. That's what I'm gonna call them, the youngers. And
how about the youngins? Youngers just sounds weird. The youngins. We found the youngins.
We found the young at heart. And started a little dance party with them.
Yeah, we were the party. Like the group of us, we were the party.
Yeah.
We were. It was super fun. It was a really good way to just meet people in a non-business setting, as Charity said. And it was also just really nice to have a way to kind of relax. I don't know. I find just dancing and like having that freedom, I guess, to just not be so like yes, my name is Breianna and I'm from Riffmedics, and like that form. It was really just nice to end the night that way. And that went on for a couple of
Yeah,
hours.
I think it was like six to eight.
8, yeah. So yeah, it was a while. After the party was done, we did get kicked out. It was in this pool area and they like shoot us out of there when it was done.
Okay, we didn't get kicked out of the way of like, oh no, you guys, like the party was done and they needed to clean up, so they just wanted everyone out.
Yeah, but it was very much like it was done and people were like moved out of there. So we got done and then we went to dinner, and that was the night that we ended up just walking the like actual Vegas Strip. I don't know the name of the street. It's just the main Vegas Strip. So we were there. We ended up seeing the largest chocolate fountain at the Bellagio Hotel, and I don't really remember what else we did that night. My feet hurt. Oh, we went to the Venetian, which is another hotel. They have a actual canal in their hotel with gondolas that people can ride, which is just insane. And we walked a lot. We walked a lot. My feet hurt. Your feet hurt. All of our feet hurt.
My feet still hurt.
Yeah, it's rough. My feet thankfully do not hurt anymore, which is good. But yes, that's what we
To be
did.
fair, you were told to bring comfortable shoes. I
It
was
was.
just told to bring shoes. Obviously, you just need to bring shoes, but I only had sandals because that's what I wore in Florida all the time. Um, I would not suggest sandals. It
Comfortable walking shoes are a must.
doesn't matter what you're wearing. Just put on the comfortable walking shoes. It doesn't have to match.
Put on the tennis shoes, I had nice, comfortable Skechers shoes that were great, but even with those, my feet hurt. So yeah, we just kind of walked around for a while, and eventually we had to get to a point where we're like, no, we need to go back to the hotel and we need to go to bed. That was the end of Wednesday. Then we woke up Thursday, and Charity was very, or no, we woke up Wednesday. That was, I'm getting my nights mixed up. So that was Tuesday night. Then we woke up Wednesday morning. Charity was very adamant that we had to get coffee because we didn't have coffee the day before. So we had to leave our room even earlier. And we went to our next set of sessions, which were
Ending the paper trail. So, something about our company is we are 100% remote. And a lot of people think that is a bad thing, but remote just means for us, we don't have an office space. We all work from our homes. I have had a
it'd be
few.
difficult for us to have an office space.
Well, yes, but I've had a few people that call in and are like, "Oh, I don't want to work with any remote employees." It's not like that. We just don't have an office space because we don't need one. And so I went to a session on um, ending the paper trail so that we can be 100% online, and we are about 98% online.
So we're doing a good job on that.
And then my second session, which fell in line with my sessions from the first day, is how to hire, train, and pay sales professionals because we are in the sales industry.
Nice. I had my two sessions. The first one was safety as a marketing tool. So, how to take your company's safety and really use it to show a different side of your company, whether it be good or bad. You know, some people think that having a bad picture of safety out there is going to hinder your business, but what you can do is you can take that and be like, hey, like, we are in the wrong here. This is what we're doing, and kind of give updates and how that can really help your marketing. And then the second session I went to was my favorite session by far. It was Bring Your Internet Presence to Life, New Strategies for Websites and Digital Marketing. And I think what I liked so much about the session is that a lot of times when you're talking with marketers, they'll like half give you what you need to know. But this presenter was very much like, this is what you need, and here's a checklist. And then at the end, he gave us his book that he's written all about it as well. And it was really just like great because you don't always get that from marketing people. There, it's kind of weird. Marketing is a weird place where the information should be out there because you're all about putting information out there. But when it comes to actually put information out there, they try and hold it. I don't know. It's a weird place to be, is in a marketing position. But yeah, he was very much like, here's what you need to do. Here's a practical checklist of how to do it and why you should do it. So it was really good. Very good. And then we went back to the expo, which was kind of the same as the day before. We just tried to get through the rest of it. I was only at the expo for 2 days because I had to fly out on Thursday morning. And so we really did try to get to everybody. I think we pretty much succeeded.
Yeah, I think we made it through the rest of the expo on.
I can't think of anything that we missed. And then that night we went to a show.
We went to Absinthe,
which if you are looking for a little bit of everything, if you have a limited amount of time in Vegas, it's a good show for that.
However, be warned that if you are offended easily, do not go to that show. They are a bit raunchy.
A bit. So yeah, that's where my time ends. The next morning I had to fly out. I did have some problems with my flights on the way out, so I actually had a lot of stress with that. But I made it back home by Thursday night. But you were there on Thursday.
Yes.
So how did that go?
So Thursday, which by the way, I was going to tell you this. Thursday morning, I actually made it to Starbucks in the morning, and there was no line at all.
Really?
And I don't think I made it to Starbucks till like 7:30, and there was no line. I was impressed because it had been like a crazy line every other day. Anyways, I had I had 2 sessions on Thursday, just making up a winning financial plan as I do the finances in the company. That was a good one for me to listen to so that we can make sure that our costs and all of that is correct. And then how to structure the company to make sure that everyone is getting maximum productivity done. So those were mine. And then I headed over to the IRE with my boss, and we walked around a little more, but we found that a lot of people were packing up their booths already because it was the last day, so it was actually good that we watched through it fully between Tuesday and Wednesday, because Thursday a lot of the companies were just gone and done at that point. And I think that partly had to do with like how many people weren't there, that they had already had the opportunity to talk to everyone they needed to. And then we, I don't know if we told you this, but after IRE, we had gone swimming for a bit, and then my mom was there. We walked around the hotel and did just some shopping in our hotel because I still needed a souvenir for my daughter.
As a side note, for people who have not been to Vegas, like every single hotel
is also a mall
and a casino. If you need anything, just go to a hotel.
We were actually going to go to Dick's Last Resort for dinner, just for the experience of it. But we then decided to go to a bar in the hotel, an Irish pub called Riras, where they had a live Irish band playing, which was super awesome and cool. They're actually going to be in Wisconsin at some point. They're going to Lawrence University. We just don't know when.
Oh.
Anyways, this band, and this is totally off point, but it was 2 guys. They play guitar. They're from Dublin. Their home right now is in Vegas, though. That the stage at Riras is actually their stage. One of the guitarists has the world record in longest time playing a guitar. And together, they have the world record in longest concert played, which was 15 days and 10 hours straight. And then they actually also just had an Amazon movie made about them. I think it's called like 60 concerts in 50 states in 40 days. So that's also pretty cool because they have played a concert in every single state and they did it in 40 days. There are 50 states and they played concerts in 40 days.
Well, there's some states that are just so close to each other. You play on one side of the border and then in like the morning, and then you play on the other side of the border next day.
Anyways, pretty impressive. They were taking requests and they were fun to just chill and hang out with. Also, fun fact about Vegas, there are 6 speakeasies.
Good to know. Yeah, so I missed that entire day because I was on flights. I didn't get home until 11:30. It was a long time. But I had been to Rera's twice before they showed up in Vegas.
Which is why we hadn't gone when she was there. She did miss going to the speakeasy, which, my personal opinion, has the best drinks in all of Vegas.
Not that we went to many places to get drinks. So.
No, we didn't.
It's hard to say that, but from what our experience was, this is what she's saying.
They definitely just like drinks in any other place. Like I am in Oklahoma, they don't compare. They're so much better in Vegas.
So, what are 3 key takeaways from our time last week?
Well, not related to IRE. If you have allergies, Vegas is not necessarily the place for you to go. That was something that I quickly learned, as I have allergies. So just be very careful going to Vegas if you have allergies, because not all restaurants are as accommodating as in other places in the U.S.
I learned, and this is from National Women in Roofing Day, but one of the big things that I learned that I was hoping to learn was more of how to run a council in Wisconsin, because I did start one. And so there are just some really good things I learned that day.
From the sessions, I learned more about like how roofing companies are run, I guess. Well, managed maybe is a better word. I would like to have more management in the company, and so that was helpful in just knowing like where I need to speak up to have that authority.
Yeah. From the sessions, I learned that if your website's not where it's supposed to be, then good luck trying to get the rest of your marketing to be where it needs to be to really be ranking in Google and other places. And our website is good. It's just not where it should be. And I learned that, and that was really helpful.
And then I guess from IRE, I prefer it with less people because I actually I can have my personal opinions and preferences. I prefer less people. It gave me the opportunity to actually sit and talk with the vendors there and see the demos there, so that I did not have to schedule demos later during my busy workday. However, I do have one scheduled later today, but that was my own personal preference.
I think there's some times where having a demo outside is better. I have one too. One of my things is to find people for websites, and it's just hard to get website demos on, I think, a show floor. So there are those times. One last thing that I learned. I learned that there's a lot more support in the roofing industry than I think a lot of people would realize. I mean, between National Women in Roofing Day and just like the people you meet, if you need something, someone probably has the answer. It's just a matter of finding them and networking and like knowing who to talk to, when to talk to, how to talk to them. And So yeah, definitely walking away from last week with a lot more contacts that if I need something, I have that. One case in point is, Charity and I work in a company with our family, and that's not abnormal in the roofing industry. In fact, it's really abnormal to be in a company that isn't family run or was started as a family run company. So it was just really nice, and is really nice to know that a lot of the experiences we're having is normal, and there are people we can reach out to and talk to who have been there, done that, are doing it, and can have those conversations. So rating 10, 1 to 10, 10 being like 100% would go again.
Oh, I would 100% go again.
Okay. Me too. It was fun. It was exhausting. So exhausting.
My feet still hurt.
Yeah. But it was a good time. And we obviously did not take to heart the what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, because we just spent how long talking about what happened in Vegas. So, yikes.
Well, to be fair, ours is based on conferences. We didn't tell about our show. Things like that. And we didn't talk about Fremont Street. Those things stay in Vegas.
So, an honorable mention we are going to put out here. If you tuned in last week to our episode with Heidi Ellsworth from her first coffee shop, we were on a Facebook Live, or not Facebook
YouTube Live.
We were on a YouTube Live for her first coffee shop. And our podcast did get shouted out on it. So if you want to see that, I will link that in the show notes so that you can go watch that. I have not personally watched it, but Charity watched it.
It's like 8 minutes long. It's really not that long.
Not that
It's
long.
a short little snippet.
But we're there. We're there.
Oh, because they never see our face.
They don't know. We don't put our face out there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you want to see us, see that. I will link it down below. And anything else you wanted to say about Vegas and IRE before we...
No, I'm good.
We're good? Okay. Well, thank you for joining us today for All About IRE. Next week, we will be having an episode about National Women in Roofing Day, and we might have a couple of special guests with us. So you'll have to tune in next week to find out more about that. But until next week.
Bye.
That brings us to the end of today's episode. If you've been loving what you're hearing, make sure to press the subscribe button so you get notified anytime we post a new episode. Episodes come out on Wednesdays. Please share this podcast with a friend, rate us, or leave a review. All of those help us to reach more listeners so that everybody can join us and learn more about the roofing industry as we go along on this journey. If you don't already follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, or YouTube, I will put all of our information in the show notes below. Feel free to contact us with any questions or ideas you have and would love for us to talk about on the podcast. I hope you have a great day, and we will see you next time.